What's going on?
So I guess it's not even going to play tonight.
Russell, let Donna in.
Had some
Try to
stardust
get your attention
interrupt
for
us.
5 minutes.
It's not even showing that it's playing, but it is playing over there.
Yeah, and I'm not on the channel, but
Yeah, I can see it now. Well, anyway, welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. On the most dysfunctional thing that I've ever used in my entire life. It has a mind of its own. One week we'll get the countdown, it'll play, and the next week it won't work at all. So I have no idea what's going on. So I'm glad to have everyone out there. The Aussie man's out there, James Parker, Dan Inge, Lynn's handcrafted wood signs. Leonard's out there. So we're out there too, and welcome. Couple of things real quick. Let y'all know about kind of my family has been kind of out of pocket for a little bit. My wife's aunt passed away last week, and so just things like that. And then we've got her sister. We found out this afternoon they rushed her to the hospital and they're doing some MRIs. They think they found something wrong in her brain, so we're not sure what's going on with that. So, but yeah, and then we had Jeremy that was supposed to be on last week, and he can tell about that real quick. But he ended up going to the ER with a kidney stone, I think he said. So it's like, I was almost thinking, like, is this year going to start off with is like being cursed and we're not going to have a show for the first part of the year? But it's all worked out, and I appreciate y'all being out there and still supporting me, and still being out there on YouTube and Twitter or Twitch, I should say, and on Facebook, because we simultaneously broadcast to all three places. So, but with that being said, let's start off with Al. Tell us where we can find you.
Al, that's me, right? Odessa
Yes.
Woodworking Maker Shop, Kilroy 79763. I stream Sundays at 2 p.m. Not sure what I stream, especially when I can't turn off and mute that. I'm going to probably be working on an Xbox this weekend. Not woodworking, but anyway, going to basically put it together, and maybe it'll work. But anyway, you can find me Kilroy 79763 all over the place, and I'm a little hoarse. So
You're a little hoarse. I was going to say, I thought you were a big. Never mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Paul.
the anterior Paul.
Go ahead, Paul.
Paul Corliss from Paul's Messy Workshop. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be watching Al's show tomorrow, and I invite everybody else to watch it because I have money riding that he won't finish this project.
Hey, a friend of mine by the name of Keeper49 would say it is the sparks and smoke part of my stream, but my whole stream's going to be sparks
Smoke and mirrors. Like smoke and
mirrors. That usually is, but
if you've got enough riding on the bet, if Paul's got enough riding on the bet, Al, you'd be better off go buy one of those things and then just win the bet and say, "Hey, look, I fixed it."
Yeah.
I'm just
I
saying,
have watched at least one show where Al has finished a project.
Which one is it? Is it right here? Is it right here?
I know that's the one.
if there's sparks and flames while you're soldering, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say sparks and flames. You ain't supposed to have sparks and flames when you're soldering, Al. I'm sorry.
Right.
All right, so Dixon.
Hi, I'm Dixon Hoffman. You can find me at hoffmansignsandDecals.com.
Donald.
I'm Donald Matthews. I'm on Donald Vlogifies Woodshop on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I got a website called redneckknowhow.com.
Chris.
Hey guys, Chris here at the Old Cranky Workshop, where it's in sunny Southwest Florida. It's 80 degrees. Hate to rub it in, but I'm enjoying rubbing it in. So Just take a look at my shop. Won't see it much longer. Getting ready to move it down the street. So, new house, new digs, new shop. And by the way, it's 34 days till St. Patrick's Day, and I take a size 12 pack if you're still shopping.
Okay. Yeah,
No, no.
you can.
And
You can't. I don't want to elaborate too long because we got to get to Jeremy. But yeah, y'all actually found a house and are moving, but it's like what, 600 feet,
300 yards.
300 yards.
Can't really call it a move.
Yep, that's pretty cool.
hey,
Uh,
hey,
Jim Bashirs.
Jim from Driveway Workshop. Off to you, Donna.
And Donna.
Man, a few words.
Donna Presley, Donna's Wooden Art, Donna's 40 Plus. Find me on YouTube, Facebook. Soon I will be back on YouTube to do some more videos. I've had a lot of things going on.
Amen to that. And Dan just posted he did a celebration of life for his wife. It's about 70 people showed up. Some of them he hadn't seen in years. He said a lot of people love that old woman. I didn't say that he did. So I didn't say that he did. Yeah, Dan, I'm sorry for your loss, and I understand. Trust me, we're going through it. My wife's going through a rough time. Like I said, she lost her aunt, and it's a blessing. And I will say this much: it was a blessing in some ways because the family tried as much as possible. When you got somebody that's in a hospice for like 13 or 14 days, it really gets rough. To people taking off work and trying to be there with her, but she is family. So we went down there that Tuesday and to see her, and they said she was getting worse. Well, you don't get better usually in these situations, and so I just want to say this: they lowered the bed and they put a chair beside so my wife could hold her hand and talk to her. And lo and behold, while my wife was talking to her, she slipped away. So she slipped right out of this world into heaven, and it was it's a blessing in one way because nobody wanted her to be alone, but in the same aspect, it really has bothered my wife because her and her aunt. There were four sisters, and I will just say this real quick: there were four sisters. The two oldest were always really close, and the two youngest were always really close. Well, Aunt Mercedes and my wife's mother, Judy, were the two youngest, and they were the closest. So they stayed real close throughout the years. They did all kind of stuff together. So, it's bothering her, but that's understandable. But nobody's promised tomorrow, trust me. Just the way it is. So, but anyway, that being said, Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on here, guys.
I hate to bring you in on a bad note, but
hey, here's
man,
a good
that's
note.
life.
Here's a good note. This is a Brady Bunch panel.
yeah, it actually is.
That it is.
Yeah, it is a Brady Bunch. So,
And that's
tell us explain your name and what you do and where we can find you. I don't think you have a YouTube channel, do you?
No, sir. So my name is Jeremy
good.
Hannaford.
Why don't you
My
make it full screen, Russ?
Yeah. Go ahead.
My business name is Jeremy's Gimp Art. You guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram. Most of my work is on Instagram. But yeah, I'm a C6 quadriplegic who does metal work. A lot of TIG welding. I do sculptures, trophies, furniture, all kinds of sorts of things. So,
But you're mainly all do TIG.
yes, sir.
Yeah,
TIG is
cool.
TIG is my favorite. It's the cleanest, and it's I can get real intricate with the things that I do using a TIG. So with the smaller projects that I do, it makes it a lot easier to get in there.
You have a few small things that you can show us?
Well, I do have a couple things I'm working on right now. So I build a lot of either trophies or business card holders, stuff like that. And right now I'm just starting on a mini wheelchair for a wheelchair company called Quickie and RGK. This is just the start of it. These are the wheels I had cut out by a buddy up in St. Louis. And this is just going to be a tabletop business card holder for one of the big wigs of the company. And then what I started off doing because I play wheelchair rugby, so I started making trophies for tournaments once I started TIG welding a few years ago. And it started off as these really big trophies, and they are dangerous as hell. But
Right?
so yeah, they're big, they're heavy, made out of saw blades.
Dude.
All
That
kinds of
is
different
awesome.
stuff. Yeah, I actually I haven't built one of these in a few years, and I was looking through all the stuff that I had here at home to show you guys, and it wasn't very much. Most of the stuff I make is all custom orders, and they get shipped off to whoever. But I had one of these trophies that we won, and I was bringing it outside, and I went to close my door, and I smacked my hand on it, and I looked down and started bleeding. So, yeah, the stuff I used to make was quite dangerous, and it shows.
Yeah.
That reminds me of that those saw blades as wheels reminds me. What was the name of the movie where the guy was being chased by those people and in cars are all different?
Mad Max.
Mad Max. That's what it reminds me of.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of the play that everybody gets off of it, the vibe they get off of it, so they like that. And it's turned from these big trophies to a little bit smaller ones that people will just buy and keep on their desks. It's a great representation of the sport that I play, that we play. It's a good conversation piece that gets talking about the sport and ends up talking about me a little bit, so it's a win-win for everybody. But yeah, I love this stuff.
Cool. Yeah, no, Chris, you've never done any racing, wheelchair racing?
Well, I have. So.
Yeah, I know. I said, Jeremy, have you ever done any wheelchair racing?
No. I'm not a speed guy when it comes to this wheelchair. I'm more about contact and hitting people and causing damage. So
Yeah.
that's the direction I go.
I'm a fighter, not a runner.
I played wheelchair ball for about 15 years, and one night I showed up at the gym on the wrong night for practice. The rugby team was there, so I wanted to work out. Well, I was like fresh meat on the court, so every time you turn around, they gave me the ball so I'd get attacked. So I went home bloodied and bruised.
We love new people.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, we have basketball players, or we'll have able-bodied people come in all the time, and they think real highly of themselves until they get in the chair and start playing against us. And you think quadriplegic, you don't think somebody's going to go out there and smack you around, but we lay the wood pretty hard. So
I watched some guys.
You guys that night.
I watched some guys in chairs playing basketball one night. It was like it was redneck. I'm surprised it's not more popular sport because it's redneck heaven. You got basketball, you got demolition derby.
Yeah, I've seen some of them play basketball, and I was just amazed, that how good they were, and how I got two legs and can walk, and I can't shoot the basket half as good as they can,
Yeah, we have a big rivalry with wheelchair basketball because they want to play the sport that we play because there's no contact in basketball, but in wheelchair rugby it's full contact and you can just beat the hell out of each other. So it's kind of a jealousy thing because most of them can't class in and play, so they get to watch.
Mutual respect thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you play?
Where do I play?
Yeah.
In Seattle. So I coach and I play for the Seattle Slam.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard them.
Cool.
I was East Coast. I was New England Blazers for basketball.
Okay, right on.
So I retired from basketball.
What's the what's the one probably I want to say weirdest, but what's most unusual thing that somebody is asking you have asked you to make that you thought like, that's kind of strange?
So I made, it's probably one of the coolest things I ever made, but it was a centipede. I wish I had a picture of it, but this lady, she was all about having insects on the walls of her house, and she didn't want them little; she wanted them big. And it took a little bit of thinking, but came up with this giant centipede. It ended up being about, I don't know, 18, 20 inches long. I made it out of stainless steel nuts that were, I think what size, maybe inch and a half. They were big.
Wow,
then I used a
yeah,
bunch
that's like
of
that, right?
bunch of 16 penny nails for the legs. It's got a cool bend to it. It's on my Instagram page.
Let me see if I can find it. I'll post it out there. I got your Instagram page posted though.
Okay, awesome.
Very neat.
Yeah, it turned out pretty cool. It creeped a lot of people out, but man, it turned out really cool.
Let me post it out there again.
Yeah, my wife would be creeped out. She's not an insect, a snake, bug, anything that has more than two legs.
Anything that crawls, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah,
we
it was
live
crazy.
around here. We have a bunch of oak trees, so we have what we call palmetto bugs. They're just big cockroaches, trust me. But we get these big wolf spiders, and I tell you what, with their leg span, they're a good 3-4 inches in diameter.
Wow.
And I'll catch one in the house every once in a while. She'll just freak out. I'll get my cup and a piece of paper, and I'll trap him and take him outside and throw him because they eat the palmetto bugs. I'm not going to kill him.
Yeah, she's doing work.
Yeah.
Yeah, this lady, she sent me a picture when it was all done, how she hung it on the wall, and it's right by her slider, and she's got a bunch of other different insects and stuff that she'd bought from wherever.
Was it articulating in any way, or was it solid?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it laid flat on the wall, but it had some bends to it, so it looked like it was crawling up the wall. It was pretty cool looking. So, and then it mixed well with the stuff that she had.
Sounds good. Anybody else got any questions?
I'm just looking through photographs.
Yeah, I was.
Len out in the chat said that your welding ability must come in handy fixing wheelchairs.
Yeah, that is true. I ended up being the freebie welder for my rugby team. I'm always bringing chairs home that are cracked and fixing them because we used to send that off to whoever, and it cost an arm and a leg to TIG weld aluminum. So they lucked out and got a coach and a welder, I guess.
You don't set up right there on the side of the court for breakage during a game?
Nah, I'm not quite that set up yet, but I do. There's been many nights where we host tournaments here in Seattle, and I'll have to take a chair home at 9:00 at night, weld it up, and be back early in the morning. So.
Yeah.
Is that a special chair that's only used for rugby, or is it just an adaptation of a chair they use for basketball?
No, so it's custom built. They're custom built just for rugby. The specifications are all set to league parameters, but each one is custom built for each person. So there's a lot to them, and they're heavy. Basketball chairs are pretty light. The rugby chairs are meant to be constantly beat on, so they're beefed up pretty well. But the thing with me is so when I run my TIG welder, I can kind of show you guys a little bit, but I run the torch with my right hand. I hold, let me grab some filler real quick. So it's a three appendage process that I'm using. I have zero hand function. So I hold my filler wire with my left hand.
Russ, can you make a thank you.
I am. I'm trying it. It's responding. Like I click on it, and 10 seconds later, it does it.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right, so here we go. So here's
Thank you.
my filler wires in my left hand. My TIG torch is in my right. So I kind of just wedge it between my fingers, and then I can't really get a picture of it, but I run the pedal with my elbow with the same hand that I use my filler wire. So it's a giant circus act.
Yeah.
But
have you ever zapped yourself accidentally? I mean, I don't know how much strength you have.
Knock on wood, I have not shocked myself yet. I always wear gloves just to kind of make sure I don't do that. But yeah, that's the one thing that I've lucked out over the years is not shocking myself.
a lot of people won't wear gloves or the equipment. It's like, really? No.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Hey.
no way. I'm not taking the chance of
Right.
shocking myself.
Let me tell you, you've never experienced until you have been stick welding and you forget you have your knee on the piece that you're welding and it's all hooked up and you touch to break the arc and it just, yeah.
It grounds
It
to
sends
you.
that
Huh?
nice tingly feeling up your spine that your knee was on the metal. Don't ask me how I know that.
Right.
It teach you real quick, right?
Yeah, it was a learning experience. I was like, I didn't even think about it. My knee was resting up against it. It was like that's almost like as bad as touching the gurney when they shock them to bring them back to life. Let me tell you, that'll put the stars in the sky.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was an idiot. My brother-in-law was sitting there welding, and he said, "Here, hold this right there for a second." Okay. Won't do that again.
It's like when you have your kid hold the spark plug when you're starting the lawnmower.
Oh yeah.
Right? Make sure it's got spark.
Or tell them to pee on it and cool it off.
Oh,
There you go. That was rough.
Don't ask me how I know that one either. I'm trying to, and man, everything
Paul,
tonight.
Paul will help you to share the screen. Come on, Paul, help him out.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. Every time I try to do this stupid thing, there, it finally did it. Okay, it finally did it.
Just go to the page and scroll down. There's some really neat pictures there.
I like the flamingo.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Share screen. Have we got it up there?
There we go.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the wheelchairs. The little mini trophies those actually went to Jacksonville, Florida, a couple weeks ago for a tournament down there. But there's 3 different chairs. That's the Speed Demon. Then there's going to be a heavy hitter and the sticky picker. That's the heavy hitter right there, the one with the biggest hits of the weekend.
Now that was a chain and on the front of it, right?
Yeah, it's a timing chain.
Timing chain. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to
pretty
use
cool.
mostly scrap metal for most of the stuff I make. I've gotten kind of spoiled and bougie over the years trying to use, new stuff just to keep it cleaner. But
Here, this is going to be the easier way to see if I can go down through here and find some stuff.
Yeah, but scrap metal's free, right?
yeah, emotionally, it's not free sometimes. I got so much of it. You just want to pull your hair out. I
work with pallet wood, and I love it because it's free. So.
Yeah, you can't beat free. That's for sure.
No. I like those.
Yeah, Seattle Space Needle.
I see that. I just as soon as you said it, I said, that's a dang Seattle Space Needle. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's
now
pretty
these
cool.
are your business card holders? Some of them?
So this one's it was a bigger piece for a company in Seattle. They work occupational therapy, so kind of mixes in with that. But yeah, built some rugby chairs for them and got the Seattle theme with the Space Needle, and they got that up in their front office. So
that's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
And I guess that's a bowl made of washers.
Yeah, so I make flamingos. There's some pictures on there, giant flower pot flamingos. They stand about, 3.5 feet tall, all finished out. They're pretty cool looking. I have one that I've been meaning to make my wife for the last probably 3 years that I'm still working on it.
Wow.
I don't know if you know of her, but if you're on Facebook, type in Barbie the welder.
Oh yeah.
You know about her? Yeah, she's very good too.
Yeah, she's awesome sculpture builder. So
yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff, and she's been on the show, and I've seen some of the stuff she's done, and I'm amazed at some of the stuff she does. You never in a million years figure that, when you look at a pile of metal like that you could pull stuff out and make, uh, the needle. You know what I'm saying? It's like, really.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes imagination. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to have creativity. I
Indeed.
didn't know I had any of that until I started doing this, and I used to just sit and stare at piles of metal for hours on end until I
I
come
got
up
to
with
show
something.
this one.
Yeah, oh, definitely. There's another one too that's more close up. Man, you could see the I don't know, the blood in his eyes.
That doesn't look like blood in his eyes.
No. This. I think this. It looked like a. I don't know. Maybe you'll get there. Kind of something like that, but I think a little closer.
I might have posted there's a picture of Sport and Spoke magazine that I actually made the cover of. Yeah,
that's it. That's the one I saw that I was like, yeah.
Where I don't see it.
That's probably towards the top.
Yeah, it's there. It's like, wow.
There we
go.
go.
This one? Yeah. That right there is like awesome.
Oh,
it's
okay,
like,
yeah. Okay, so I'm new to this stuff. Why are the wheels on your wheelchair turned inward?
So the camber is there's two reasons for it. Stability. So when we're going fast, turning quick, so you don't flip over easily. The other thing is for speed. So the way that they're cambered out, you can have kind of different angles. Some work a little bit better than others, but speed and stability is the reason for the camber.
Okay.
That looks
well. I mean, I can understand the camber and caster because when I owned 3 race cars at one time, so you kind of set them at an odd angle like that too for going around the racetrack to help get it to turn into the curve better. That's the only way I can put it.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into those chairs that you don't really think of until throughout the years of kind of hit and miss stuff. And that's a hand cycle I built.
I like that.
Yeah, they're so much fun.
Now the guy that cuts like some of your circles and puts the artwork in the circles for you, do you know if he uses a plasma or a laser or water blaster?
So the last one I showed you here, those were cut on a water jet. So these ones here, I just have a buddy with a CNC plasma cutter cut these out. I just get like 20 at a time because I build so many different things with them. But between the water jet and the CNC is what they use.
Yeah,
that's really cool coloring on the back wheels. Is that
just heat,
or is that a byproduct?
No, I heat those up with the torch just to get that color. I used to do everything just plain steel colored, and this just adds a little bit of character to it, and
Indeed.
You can kind of get the spoke look into it too.
Yeah.
Have you done a racing chair?
I believe I have. I think I've done one. It's been quite a few years since I did the last one.
I may contract you for one. So
yeah, let's do it. I always love doing new stuff. It's always a challenge, but I like the way that they end up in the end.
Yeah, you got to get something thrown at you. So you're like, how am I going to do this?
Right. Yeah, that's keeps me on my toes for sure.
So cool. Hey, Russ, keep going. I was looking ahead. There's a flamingo in there.
I am. I was just watching him doing his little thing right here.
Yeah. By the way, Jeremy, remember what I told you about? I burned the ceramic tips off. I'm really inspired, man. I'm really inspired that to try to not burn the tips up.
Yeah, the dipping the tungsten in your puddle is probably the easiest thing to do, and I have a pile of them that I go through all the time because there's some people that make it look real easy, but
yeah, well, it's inspiring me. It really is.
Get out there and keep trying it, man.
I don't have.
Hey, Jeremy, we had a question out in the chat that asked if you're using a downdraft table.
No, I'm just using a fixture table from Weld Tables. So it's all drilled out with holes, so I can put my clamps in it.
There it is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is that a flywheel at the bottom?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
Sure
just
enough.
out of curiosity, what would you get for something like that?
I charge $250 for those right there.
Wow, that's reasonable. Wow,
Yeah, I like that.
I like it too.
putting that on my list right now.
Now, I know without a shadow of a doubt, a flywheel weighs pretty good. And so with all that other metal, what is your shipping usually cost to ship that?
So I have not shipped one of the flamingos yet. Pieces like that, those are really hard to ship across the country just because
That's
of
what I was. Yeah.
the boxing. The freight probably costs more than the piece itself. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because I actually, no jokes aside, I have a flywheel right here in this room with me, and I made a TV stand out of it.
Yeah.
right on.
They're good for stability.
They're
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because it weighs so much. Like I used it the same thing you did. I used it as the base, and then I got a piece of pipe that comes up and holds a TV up. One of my TVs for the show up in the air.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I use them quite a bit for different bases on all kinds of stuff. So
That's a neat piece.
Now, those are your actual racing wheels for your car wheelchair.
yeah, so those are a new set of wheels I got from a rugby chair last year.
Cool.
Yeah, they take a beating. So
I'll bet.
that's what they look like when they're brand new, and they last about an hour looking like that.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Yeah, we had I was a fireman paramedic for 30 years, and I saw some of the aluminum that they did on the trucks on the welds, and I thought it was a MIG, but the guy told me, he said, no, those welds, we do them TIG because we get such a smoother look than we can with a MIG.
Yeah, it's hard to use a spool gun MIG wise to do aluminum and make it look good.
Yeah.
But it's aluminum, it sounds like it'd be pretty easy to do, but aluminum is so finicky because it melts at a low temperature, so you can waste something real fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aluminum's horrible to weld. I've never been able to successfully weld aluminum at all. I welded a little bit, but
Well, it's just like instead of them putting a bend on like a piece of, they would TIG the two pieces together, and it was just the guy, whoever did their TIG welding for the aluminum was like awesome. It was just a nice work. That's all I can say. It's just really nice.
Yeah,
but
it's
really
an art for sure.
yes, definitely.
Well, because if you don't have like aluminum, steel is pretty forgiving when it comes to being clean. You keep it pretty clean, you can get a decent weld out of it. But if aluminum has any kind of dirt, any kind of anything on the metal, it'll just explode on you, and it is the ugliest, nastiest stuff. And then it makes your day just hell. So
was that that's a bulldozer?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that was awesome to build.
Where did the chain tracks come from?
That is a
Timing belt?
It's a timing chain out of something huge. I forget what I got it out of, but
that is a huge, yes.
I sat on that thing for probably 2 years trying to figure out what I was going to use it for, and this project came up, and it was just perfect.
I mentioned that I was inspired by you, but now I'm enabled in hoarding. So now I can keep everything now because, hey, you never know when you're going to need it.
That's right.
We are one of our guys out there that's here all the time. His name's Leonard. He's Lynn Handcrafted Wood Science. He says, With a clamp table, you can still make them into a downdraft table. It will help you live longer. The fumes are nasty. Don't ask me how I know. So,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Getting some kind of filtration system in my shop is one of the things that's got to happen here.
yeah.
Sounds like Jeremy has a lot of cars in the neighborhood that won't start. Jim, really?
What happens to timing chain? Let it go.
Yeah.
Uh,
All it does is backfires. I can't figure it out.
That's
I bet you
neat.
they're a hell of a lot harder to get off on a catalytic converter.
Let me see
Yeah, I was
if
going
can
to say
make
that.
it work.
probably so.
Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm finding it. I'm on it. I'm on it. Let's see.
Jeremy,
Not
how
to
do you
break, change the
how do you
subject,
drop-
but then we had a actual 2 people that got caught in a Walmart parking lot, and they had already stole 6 catalytic converters from parked cars in a Walmart parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me at
Yep.
all.
The guy, the security cameras just happened to catch them underneath a car and called it in. When they got there, they had already got 6 catalytic converters off the cars. That is cool. That is really cool right there.
Yeah, that
That
was a
is
fun
a
one.
cool pup. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is cool.
Spoons, all of them spoons and some keys. I see. No, those are not keys. Those are
Those are washers.
Lock washers.
God,
Yep.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I
Yeah.
thought it was a skeleton key there for a second.
No, that is really awesome. That is.
Yeah. Wow.
Goodwill. Go get a whole bunch of spoons and forks, and
Yeah.
keeps the cost down, and it ends up being able to turn out some pretty cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. About how big is he?
I think this guy was only probably 5 inches tall, 6 inches long, something like that. Pretty small.
Yeah, pretty small. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Neat piece.
That is really cool.
This one was pretty awesome to build. A friend of mine did the cutting for this, also with a CNC plasma cutter, and it was a trophy or some bookends for one of the ladies that worked with the USAWR team for like 10 years, something like that. So these were kind of a going away gift for her. So got her name cut in the wheels, and yeah, it just turned out pretty sweet.
That is very nice.
Those are very cool.
Thanks.
Do you ever do anything like with like baskets, like from Walmart? Nice stash down there. I mean, have you ever done anything with that?
Like
Well, I mean, who was it? Jim said that a lot of cars around your area were couldn't start.
No, that's not what I'm laughing at. Look at the screen.
Yeah.
That's what I'm laughing at.
ET.
Missing.
now
Yes,
that town's pretty cool.
Oh, I see it now. I get it.
Uranus.
Uranus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it Missouri? I think that was the state I was in when we went through there.
I
a little
hope that's
slow
not the town
sometimes.
motto.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing at you, Al. I was laughing at as soon as I seen that, I was like, "Oh no!"
That was the first basketball chair I made.
That's cool. That's the first one? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
It-
say
it
you
is
got that
fixed,
team
right?
down pretty good, pretty quick.
The wheels don't turn, right? It is fixed.
Yeah, these ones are fixed. I've yet to build one with any moving
Hey, I
wheels.
was accused of my basketball wheels not turning by my coach.
Hey, I have those days too.
He was supposedly a friend.
A friend, huh?
Now I
Friend
gotta
can't
learn
give
to
you hell, who can?
Yeah,
That's right. Now, how come I'm seeing two different Jeremys? I guess one of them is your main page. No, never mind. Never mind. And I've got the other one scrolled down. That's what it is.
Yeah, I post so much different stuff on my my Instagram, my Facebook, so it's half work and half all the other crap I do. So
Mhm.
That's
Right.
about what my page is.
I try to keep
Hey.
mine separate, but I fail.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
The Dutchman's Woodshed wants to know if you use pistons and crankshafts.
I do. I don't do pistons very often just because most of them are aluminum. So they're kind of a pain, especially when you're working with aluminum and steel together. But crankshafts, yeah, I have a table that I'm trying to get built. I've got the base kind of set using a flywheel, and then the crankshaft is going to be the main piece of it, and then I just got to build a tabletop for it. So they're heavy though, and trying to
Well, yeah,
finagle that thing around is kind of a pain.
yeah. V8 crankshaft, it's heavy,
Yes.
very heavy.
Yes.
I use camshafts a lot for legs for things, especially like tables, or built some like barbecue tool holders with a cam, so a bunch of different stuff. So this piece right here, man, this was one of the coolest projects I've ever done. It was for a friend of mine that has a outdoor fire pit, and they wanted some kind of cool cover to go over the top of it. And me and a buddy put this thing together. It took a couple months, but everything's cut out with CNC plasma cutter, and it goes over the top, and the flames come through it, and it turned out awesome. But a lot of MIG welding, a lot of grinding, but it turned out really cool.
It looks awesome.
It's so heavy. Oh, so heavy.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
looking at it looks
Yes.
heavy.
These
That's what friends are for.
Yeah.
welding projects are not light. My brother-in-law used to make lamps and stuff out of motorcycle mufflers and brake discs. You knock them on the floor, you're gonna need a new floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
That's cool.
Oh wow! I see a
And
jigsaw
that-
blade.
Yeah, his jigsaw blades up top.
Yep.
It's the fun part sometimes is identifying what you used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I do.
I see a horseshoe, some lock washers.
Yeah.
So
little angle iron in there. Yeah. I try to save all the stuff that I destroy in the shop because I know sometime it's going to end up being used in something. So
Very nice.
Never throw anything away.
that's my biggest problem. I got little tiny pieces of wood that I save for a rainy day, and I end up having to throw them away after 2 or 3 years because I just collect too many.
And then you need them.
yeah.
I've got one of these, but mine's small. Mine's only a two. Well, it's actually a 2-seater, but I put a bench seat in the back for my grandkids to ride with me. And,
Very nice.
Oh, I love it. It's a Kawasaki Mule. That thing will run out about 53 miles an hour on the open road.
That's scary fast for
Yes.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Polaris Razor. I just got rid of a couple years ago, but yeah, I'd take it out on the street and it did about 60, and you don't want to turn doing 60, so
No.
it scared the hell out of me. Keep it on the dirt.
Well, I got it and I had it for a little bit, and I noticed my son-in-law actually he's got one like you, this one here, but his is a Yamaha. And I noticed that we were out there playing around one day. Well, I was noticing that my little 2-seater was tearing his butt up. So he was like, I can't believe that this thing has got like a 850cc or whatever in it. And I didn't have any trouble walking off and leaving him. So my son happened to be out there in his truck. And I said, hey, I'm going to take this thing out on the road and open it up. I said, you ride along beside me and let's see how fast this thing goes. It ran out at top end at 53 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah,
That's quick.
it is. It's a heck of a lot faster than I ever even imagined.
Yeah, you do it in a car, 50 doesn't seem that fast. You do it in one of those, you're like, holy hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Now
these
what
are
is
the
this?
so that side by side that you had the picture of before, these are brackets I made to hang that roof rack, because that roof rack came off of an old a car of his, the customer had, and he brought it over and said, figured out a way to attach it to this. So I
Oh,
just built
okay.
these mounts for it and made it so it was pretty easy to put on
Cool.
and take off.
Cool.
Hey, we had a question out in the chat. Have you ever made a train?
I have not made a train. Sounds like something new for the
Yeah.
list.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds like something you have to look on. Now these are for shooting with a rifle, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep. We've got some out there on my son-in-law, his family, they have 280 acres. Yeah. So we go out there and go four-wheeling, and they've got a shooting range set up on their property with some of these.
Oh, that's awesome.
A planking target.
Yep. I don't have to pay for any I just go out there. Well, I let anybody that goes out there, you just have to let them know you're coming so that they can keep people back up at the houses, so to speak. They don't want people out there riding four-wheelers while you're shooting.
Yeah, not a good mix.
No.
Yeah, I started making these. Just had a customer ask for one, and I ended up doing just one out of mild steel, and it lasted about 3 minutes, and so we ended up switching to AR 500 and coming up with a pretty cool design that worked out. So
And now there's a lot of detail in that, especially the front wheels and stuff.
yeah, and they're such a pain because I not having any finger function, trying to figure out how to get these wheels held in the right position while I weld it together and for them to stay in the right position and all that. So I've learned over the years different little tips and tricks to kind of hold things so I can get them tacked together and then go finish weld them afterwards.
That's funny. That actually looked like my basketball coach's chair. He welded
Proud
a
of him.
metal plate under his cushion, and I kept telling him you can't do it. And he welded the side guards too. So you're going to get fouled by the referee. And sure enough, 3 seconds into a game, whistle goes off. He got a foul. Got a technical. Try to tell him. But
Never listen.
nope.
Nice little Valentine's gift there.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a wedding present for my sister. Kind of represents her kids and her husband, and they use that in their wedding ceremony. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. I like that too. There's another flywheel.
Yeah, can you guys tell what the leaves are made out of?
Now I'm looking at that. Is that a bandsaw blade?
Oh, so those are clutch plates out of a transmission.
Oh, okay, yeah, from the transmission.
Yeah, they're cut and kind of put into a football shape type thing.
Well, that's what was throwing me was the football shape of them.
Yeah, I had to cut each one in half and then get that and weld it back up. So that's pretty fun little project.
Yeah, there was another one I seen here. That's probably when you were making the actual flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's neat.
Yeah, I like that.
So
nice.
yeah, half of those are the clutch plates, and I think the other half I just cut out with a plasma cutter. So I have a plasma cutter. I just not CNC or anything. I just hand cut everything to make those. So makes life a little easier.
Yeah, looks good.
Thanks.
I like it.
I'm gonna need to learn to weld now.
Well, don't take my business, man. I gotta stick to the woodwork.
It's actually a blast.
The funny thing is, I've always wanted to, but in my old shop, it was such a small space, and there was so much sawdust on the floor and on the surfaces. It's just too much of a fire hazard. I wasn't willing to risk it. But
Yeah,
now
little
I
little
have a bigger
spark.
space. Yeah, small spark and the whole place will be gone.
Hey,
Yeah.
you guys ought to get into business together. I mean,
The shipping back and forth will kill us.
When I was younger, I did a lot of welding, but all my welding in the very beginning. Matter of fact, I was probably almost 30 years old before I ever used a MIG. Was all stick welding.
That's one thing I haven't done.
Yeah.
My machines will do it. I've just never had the need to, and I've heard all the horror stories of how dirty and messy and nasty it is. And I said, nope. If I don't need to, I won't.
Right.
Stick is it's dirty and nasty. You know,
Yeah.
you're sitting there taking the what's it called? I don't want to say sludge, but the crust.
The slag.
Thank you, the slag.
Slag.
And the stuff flies and gets in your mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I like MIG.
Yeah. No, I built like I said, I was in probably my mid 20s. They needed the volunteers needed a hose rack to, once the hose gets dried, roll it up and for storage, in other words, rather than laying it around. And the hose rack's kind of like a V shape, and basically use a couple of 2x8s or 2x10s. And anyway, to make a long story short, I told him, I said, y'all we had a stick welder at the station, and one of the volunteers that donated it, he didn't even use it anymore, so it was all set up and everything. I said, y'all buy the rods and the pipe, and I said, I'll make a hose rack. So I ended up making, that was the biggest project I ever did. To get what I did, I could cut the pipe. I found the angle to cut the pipe, but we were using 1.5 or 1.75 pipe. But to get that pipe to fit up against another round piece of pipe, I would take a sledgehammer and hit it and bend it, close it together so it would fit up against the pipe and weld it.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, fitting pipe is it's a skill in itself. So yeah, if you can find a quick way to do it.
I didn't have anything to cut it round so it would fit around it to weld it. So the only way I could figure out was, like I said, take a sledgehammer and bend it, squeeze it together so it'd fit up against the pipe and weld the crap out of it.
That's pretty slick.
My brother-in-law tried to teach me one time he was welding with gas. What is it? It's S09. He was welding with gas, tried to teach me how to do it. About set him on fire, about set me on fire. It's not for me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, acetylene gas welding is that's an art in itself too.
Yep.
My uncle, he owns a wheel and tire shop, but he does mufflers, and he will not switch to using a MIG welder. He just does the gas welding every single day. I was like,
really?
Man,
my brother-in-law was a motorcycle mechanic, and he always he did MIG too, or whichever one it was. But there's just certain things that the gas is better for.
Yeah.
Well, MIG is really great for. I mean, don't get me wrong, MIG can weld some thick stuff, but MIG is really good for thin metal, especially if you know how to use it.
Yeah, if you have the settings right and you're patient, you can definitely do some thin stuff with it. That's the thing with TIG welding. You can do super thin stuff with it too, but it's super finicky because these machines light off at certain amount of amps, and if you hit them too high or your machine won't go low enough, you'll blast right through it. Where a MIG welder, you can just tack it really, really quick, and it's already got the filler in there, so you don't have to worry about blowing through it as easy. So they have their
the reason I know that is because my next door, he's moved now, but my next door neighbor used to build he would go buy a piece of what you would consider of junk, like a 1932 Ford whatever, and the fenders were rusted and everything. He would actually rebuild the fenders. He would cut the pieces of the big pieces that were rusted and put a piece in it and MIG weld it. And I watched him. He would just do little dots all the way around it and let it sit and come back and do more little dots until he filled that whole thing in and ground it. You would never know in a million years it was in there once he painted it.
Yep.
I was just amazed at the patience that he had doing something like that.
Yeah, and to do it without warping the hell out of the metal too.
Yeah.
To separate your welds and not get too much heat in there. Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Far enough away from each other. Yes. I
Yeah.
go like kind of like back and forth like this to
Yeah. Yeah. Get away from the one you just welded. Yes.
Yep, dissipate
Yep.
that heat. Yeah, my dad bought a car, and somebody tried doing all the body work on it, doing the same way, and you could tell that they went through and just tried to tack, all the way through it, and it just warped the hell out of that metal, and
Wow.
you got to cut all of it out now and redo it. So that's having that know-how.
Which
Just
weld
for the
makes
reason I
strongest
laughed,
joint?
chuckled was something that Lynn's handcrafted. Leonard put up there. He says he worked with a welder that wore a T-shirt of had a Superman logo on it, and after welding all day, it transferred the burn of the emblem onto his chest.
yeah. Yeah,
What
you
type of
definitely
weld makes the strongest
definitely
joint?
want to wear the safety equipment.
What was that?
What type of weld, like TIG or MIG? I don't know anything about either one, but which makes the strongest connection, the strongest joint?
Actually, probably a stick.
Well, I mean, any of the processes will work. It's just what you're welding and how you're welding it. It all depends on what you're welding. A lap joint's going to be pretty strong. T joints are not quite, because you're buttoning up two pieces. With a lap joint, you're putting up one piece on top of another, and then you're welding both sides. So those seem to be pretty strong. But anything where you're kind of doubling up and able to put all that heat and the filler in, if you're MIG welding or TIG welding or even stick welding. But yeah, it's all kind of dependent on what you're welding.
I was always told for the actual physical strength, stick is the best because it will burn deeper than the others into the metal, in other words. But now we're not talking about welding a fender either. We're talking about welding pieces that are like 3/4 of an inch thick together.
Yeah, if it all depends on how many amps your machine can weld.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's TIG welders that you can get up to 400 or 500 amps.
Wow, really?
But they're big dog.
Wow.
And there's also some heavy MIG machines too. Things are.
Well, I know MIG. Yes, I know MIG has come a long way since its first conception.
Yeah, stick used to be the main thing, especially if you're doing like heavy machinery or whatever. Just because you can crank the hell out of the amps and then just stuff filler in there. But some of the newer MIG machines, they're doing the same thing, because it's a lot more efficient and cleaner, and just
Yeah. With the MIG, you've got a gas envelope around, which is your flux, right? In a sense, around the
wire coming out. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it evaporates, it goes away. Whereas with a stick, you have the flux on the rod, and that's what the slag is, and that's good. If you have some 1/4 inch iron, you're welding 1/4 inch iron. Yeah, definitely a stick is the way I prefer, because you can just, I guess I won't burn through it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a wise person out there who wants to ask the question: what do you use to weld cast iron?
Well, they make a new filler wire that just came out with it not very long ago, and it's meant just for welding cast iron when you're TIG welding, and I forget the company that makes that thing is Blue Demon, and I haven't used it yet because I don't do much cast iron, but when I do, if I ever have to, I will be getting that filler wire, because it's specifically made for it, just the tensile strength of it. But yeah, got to heat that stuff up and
Cast iron's not easy to weld.
No, I've done a couple jobs. It's just you got to get it preheated, and then you can't overheat it, and you just use just a regular steel filler wire. It's what I use most of the time if I ever have just a small job. But if it's something big, definitely
I think
want
that's
to get
the
that.
biggest thing with about trying to use a MIG with it. I have seen somebody MIG a small crack in something that was cast iron, but is because of the dissipation of heat. When you try to put it on, it gets so hot. I mean, it absorbs the heat so quick.
Yeah. It's as tough as it is. It's very, very brittle.
Yeah.
So yeah, once it, it's fine once you're pounding the whatever wire into it, and then it starts to cool off and then cracks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's super finicky. I hate anytime I have to do anything with cast iron. I don't like it.
Throw it away.
Go buy another one.
I didn't think I've never worked on it. I mean,
I've seen a few things done. There was a guy had a small crack in a piece, and they successfully welded it with a MIG, and it held. It was I don't know why, I don't remember the situation why it cracked, but it was a motor, but it was in no position where, I guess it was a flaw in the metal is the only thing I can think of, but it was in no position where it was under any stress. And it was basically, they needed to fill it up to hold oil, and they MIG'd it, and by George, it held.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, it works out just fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Leonard says, 26 years of managing the welding manufacturer, almost all steel was MIG and aluminum was TIG. Yeah. When I saw some of those fire trucks and some of the work that those guys did on the aluminum, like the diamond plate, aluminum diamond plate and stuff like that, I was just, wow. I was amazed at how good the welds were on that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a guy that I follow on Instagram. He's actually helped me a few times when it comes to welding aluminum because of, how specific you have to be on some certain things. But he welds a lot of valve covers, custom valve covers in aluminum, and man, they are the prettiest welds you've ever seen. There's not a machine that could make a weld look as good as this guy's, and they're just beautiful. And to be able to have something like that on your car, you wouldn't even want to run it. It looks so good.
Well, Frenzy Wicked Truth has a question, but we're going to do that. It's getting close to the end of the go ahead and end the show. But I'm not going to use your question, Frenzy Wicked Truth. I'm going to add to it, and that is, we always have something at the end of the show where we ask somebody, what's the craziest or worst thing you've ever done, that after you did it, you go, why in the heck did I did that? And if it's got blood involved and, dismemberment or stuff, that always makes it better.
Woodshop confessions.
Yeah, woodshop confession time.
Oh, man.
I'll give you one of mine. One day I was holding two pieces of wood together that was like a 1/2 inch, and I was using an 1.5 brad nail. So needless to say, it went through the 1 inch and a 1/2 inch into my hand. So
all right, I got you. I got you now. So with this weld table that I use, it's got all these holes in it, and I was welding. What was I welding? I was welding something aluminum one day, and anybody that knows me, I wear Dickies shorts every single day, and I wear DC shoes. And where I sit, I was welding on whatever I was welding on, and the piece of the filler metal had melted off what I was welding, went through the hole in my table, and I didn't know where it went. So my legs started freaking out a little bit, having a spasm. I rolled back and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So later on that night, I go and take my socks and shoes off, and that piece of filler had fell between my sock and my ankle, burnt about a dime size hole in my ankle.
Ouch.
And it was black. So
you could not feel it.
No, but my body kind of freaks out when I have pain that I can't feel. But I ended up going to the doctor a couple days later, and I was like, "Do I need to worry about this?" And he said, "No, you cauterized it, man. You're good to go."
Yeah, but he probably billed you for that too. So
thank you. Give me your money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. Give me my $50.
Yep, pretty much that's how it was.
Be glad you can't feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's always a story to tell when, especially getting in my rugby chair with people that are new, because they end up lifting my legs and they see this giant scar on my ankle, and then it turns into the story. But yeah, that was probably my my stupidest move I've done. So
I got
was
one to
run-
tell you post show after we sign off. So.
I was running around barefoot one day when my brother-in-law was welding some of that grate that goes. It's like chicken wire, but it's a grate that goes on trailers and stuff.
Mhm.
And a piece of fell down underneath there, and I stepped on it. That is not a fun feeling.
yeah, wake you right up. Huh?
And it don't stop hurting.
I think a welding accident was my shop confession when I was on the show one time. I don't know if you guys remember it, but I was welding and I was wearing my sandals. I wear sandals and shorts, but I was welding and the slag fell down between my toes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
man, I whipped my leg on top of the fender because I was welding underneath the car. I whipped my leg. I mean, imagine just whipping your leg up on there and then just going like this on your toe.
Yeah.
I was using a wire feed welder and it wouldn't come out right. The spool, it was a Miller electric, a Miller welder, and so I started pulling it out, and I pulled it out and I held a trigger. Well, the end hit the table and she lit up like a light bulb right across my hand. Big mark right across my hand. It lit up like a light bulb, and I thought, "Whoa!" She got a little warm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone's got welding stories. I don't know if I want to learn how to weld now. So.
Oh, I wasn't welding. I was just being an idiot.
Well, you gotta go with your strength, Donald. Go with your strength.
You can have your moments. You can have your moments. Like I said, I that one time it knocked the crap out of me. Just did not even think and had my knee on the metal, and when as soon as I broke that start to weld with that stick, it just lit me up, buddy.
you only do it once, though, right? You only do it once.
Yeah. Then you realize, you don't want to be on top of the metal when you're trying to weld.
No, sir.
So, Russell, does he get forgiveness for his workshop confession?
Oh yeah, bless you, so that you will not have any more bad accidents in your shop.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that I've had my fair share over the years. I know, and it's like one of them things. After you do it, you sit there and think for a second, what in the heck was I thinking?
Yep. They happen a lot.
Yeah.
All had them.
So, Dave,
I think about the worst thing getting your fingers cut in a table saw, but next to that is kickback on a table saw.
Yeah.
That can be dangerous too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt you. It's going to scare the shit out of you. So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tried to
At an angle and that blade turning at 5,000 or 6,000 RPM, whatever it's turning. I don't know exactly, but it slings that sucker off that table like a projectile, like a bullet.
we have had some
I tried to saw through my finger with a handsaw.
no power.
Don't do that.
Donald.
yeah, but the problem, Donald, it was the fourth stroke before you realized something was wrong.
I just got to remember that right after I sharpen it, it'll go on through that wood.
Yeah.
So I use this saw right here when I cut a lot of smaller pieces of metal, and it's a diamond blade on a grinding wheel, and this is probably the scariest machine I have by far.
Yeah.
Because the kickback on it, I've caught some stuff, and I don't not having any function and holding onto this thing, it gets real scary. So
yeah,
I've learned to dodge a couple times.
Oh, trust me, they make an actual blade like that right there, but it actually has a chainsaw blade attached to it, so to speak. Have you ever seen one of those?
Wood.
Yeah, I've seen those, but it takes some Take some good
Yeah,
honeys to
that's
run
for
that.
carving wood, and they
Mine's
work
not.
really great. Like, let's say
Yours
you have a piece of wood that you want to make a chair out of, so you cut the or shape the bottom of the chair for your butt to sit in. In other words, they use them for that a lot because it takes out a lot of material real quick. Well, we had a guy a while back that was using it, and he got his fingers in it, and he was wearing leather gloves, and it really messed up two or three of his fingers really bad.
He almost
I
earned
bet.
that name, Stumpy.
Yeah, Stumpy Nug. Yeah, so
Scary
yeah, I
stuff
wanted to
sometimes.
try one, but after I saw him and his fingers and the way they look kind of mangled, I'm like, yeah, I think I'll just hold off on that.
Stick to the flat wheel.
You know who
Yeah.
uses those things that you'd never think of is people that do hoof cleaning up and trimming for cows.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They come up and they got the your
Yeah.
angle grinder with
That
one of those
looks
things.
almost painful. But
Yeah.
But the cows like
some of those hoofs have been real long, and they just come across and just cut right there. It's like,
Cut right off.
Yeah. All right,
My
guys.
daddy would say it's only painful if she kicks.
man.
They don't
Yeah.
seem to mind it.
No, it's you're talking about cutting cow horns, right?
That's what I was talking
The
about.
Yeah.
Hoofs.
Well, I just wanted to make
Daddy would have
sure before I open mouth and put foot in. But no, it cow horn is like your fingernails. There is no feeling. Now, if you get down low enough to their head, there is, because it's the same thing. If you cut your fingernail into the quick of your finger, it hurts.
Right.
But yeah, there's no feelings there.
Well, I would think the hoof is the same way, isn't it? I mean, I don't.
Yes.
really
The
see
hoof
it.
is the same way. Yeah.
Same way.
Yep. There's no feeling in
like-
their hoof. It's just like
like a dog's
like
nail.
your fingernails.
Does it
As long
have
as you don't
like
cut
the
it too
quip?
short.
Does it have like the quip in there where
Nope.
basically?
Yes, it does. If you'll notice, when they're putting a horseshoe on a horse, when he nails that in, he nails it in at an angle so that it goes outward, not inward to the center of his
Gotcha.
foot.
Yeah.
The cows don't
Yeah.
have a quick though. They've got the two, claws that come out. Then there's a thing called a white line intersection
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
outside of it. And then
Yeah.
it's down to like the bottom of our foot.
Yeah.
And the bottom of their
So-
foot grows fingernail just like our fingers and toes do.
Yep.
So
We had these rubber band things that you put on their horns, and after a week their horns would fall off because it would slowly eat inward. That's what we
like
no, it's true.
No, I know what you're talking about.
You could
Yeah.
buy these rubber band things, and we used to put them on our cows. They had real long horns. We'd put them on, and after a week, they'd fall right off by their head.
You
Yep.
know, I remember seeing those right next to the sky hooks with the 10-foot of rope and the prop wash. I saw those there.
They worked good because you didn't have to cut them off. Then they would fall off after like a
Yeah.
week.
no, I was
They
laughing
also
because
make-
when I was a little kid, we'd go down to Tennessee on my grandpa's farm, and that's how they castrate bulls and
I was just
pigs and stuff.
Oh,
Put 'em
yeah.
right- and I swear to God,
Yeah.
I was walking through a field to go. My grandparents lived the farmhouse, then there was a field and then a river. So I was going fishing. I walked out there. I see this big chode laying in the grass with a rubber band around it, and I was like, "Grandpa, what's that?" He goes, "Never mind, just keep
Yeah.
walking."
Just keep walking, keep walking.
I was only like 6 or something like.
They had a special chemical that
We are
would eat
still
away.
alive.
That I was going to mention that myself. Well,
This
now
was
they make a
1960s,
special chemical that is like, I want to call it's like a wart remover. You know how you get a wart and you put that compound W on it? Well, they make a chemical and with a little brush, and when they're a little small, you start applying that chemical to the area where the horn grows, and it'll actually keep it from growing.
Yeah,
won't
we
grow
had
horns.
we didn't cut them. We had the rubber bands with the chemical, and you put it right around by
Yeah.
their head, and a week later they'd fall off
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
slowly ate away.
Yeah.
And it didn't harm them at all.
You know, I'm glad I'm a city boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
The only thing I know about cows is I get milk there and it's a steak. That's about it.
Texas.
whether it's the rubber
Texas.
band or the shears. I do not want to be the man on the back end of that bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Put it in
All right, guys, we're going to cut out of here.
Let me finish this one. In Texas,
Yeah.
In Texas.
Go ahead.
Mountain oysters. Okay.
Mountain oysters,
all,
yes.
All state.
Oh yeah.
So, throw that.
I've
stuff
had
away,
mountain
Mom.
oysters.
Not
You don't have to be in Texas to have mountain oysters. We can have them here in Florida.
You can
They have
have
a
it.
big event. They
Yeah,
have a
but
big
Texas is
event
bigger.
right here.
I think this is going downhill real quick, and it was my
Hey.
fault.
I've eaten rattlesnake.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
I've eaten
I
rattlesnake
can't
before. So the only thing I haven't,
Rocky
the
Mountain
only thing I
oysters.
haven't ever eaten because my mother refused to cook it, and that was roadkill stew. But I get you. There was a granny on TV that used to cook it a lot. Roadkill stew.
If you get the
Jan
left
used to
hind foot,
always
that's
love
good
you,
luck.
right?
Yep. It depends on how long it's been laying there if you can cook it or not. So
I was getting
all right,
ready
we
to say,
went
as long
way
as you
off
get
track. I mean, we just went
Yeah, sorry.
As long
way
as you
off
get
to
it
the
before
left
the
field with
second
all
Jeremy,
this
thank you
stuff.
for being here.
Yep. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. We learned a lot. Hey,
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. This is all a lot of fun.
you're welcome. You found out how crazy a bunch of people can be, I guess.
I love it. Y'all are great.
8 other people
All
will
right.
right. Saturday night.
Yeah, we're gonna we'll try to get some more guests lined up here. Like I said, I apologize for the last couple of weeks, but some things just happened, and we needed to be with family. And poor Jeremy was laid up in the hospital, so it's like. But yeah, I appreciate y'all still being out there and watching tonight. And all your comments. I'm sorry if we didn't get to all your questions. We tried to. I tried to read as much as I could, but I was going through his Instagram channel, and some of those pictures were like really awesome. So I wanted to make sure to show them tonight on the video or on the live stream. So, but yeah, thank you all for being out there. We'll try our best to be back next week with a guest. And listen, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust, or in Jeremy's case, weld some steel, you're just too darn busy, or you're lazy. So get out in your shop and weld or make some sawdust. Good night, everybody. Just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust, all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Good night, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Good night,
And
boys
God
and
bless.
girls. And remember, you don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here.
Live
Nope,
long
you
and
got to get out of here.
Chris
See ya.
said.
Stay